So what if the child was not sacrificed by burning? Would it be okay? From a strictly biblical and legal perspective, the answer is no. It wasn't just about the method of the fire, it was about the whole act of killing an innocent human. So, with that being said, now, if thou shalt not murder, how is the community supposed to hold the child sacrificer accountable for their actions? In the context of ancient biblical law, the community was commanded to take direct collective action. The truth, according to these texts, is that the community share a responsibility for the crime if they allowed it to happen within their gates. Look at that. It says, according to Leviticus, the law was compromising. The people of the community are to stone him because the act was seen as profaning the holy name of God. And there's also accountability for those who look away. The law went a step further by holding the neighbors and witnesses accountable. Leviticus 20 and 4 through 5 warns that if the members of the community closed their eyes to the act and failed to put the person to death, God will set his face against not only the perpetrator, but also against their entire family and everyone who follows them. Damn. So I ask, does it matter who the child is being sacrificed to that God will find acceptable for child sacrifice to happen? According to the biblical text and the laws laid out in the Torah, the answer is a definite no. There is no deity, including God's self, whom child sacrifice is considered acceptable. The scriptures treat the act of child sacrifice as an absolute moral line that cannot be crossed regardless of the target of the devotion. Many pastors get it wrong by thinking God was only talking about that Canaanite false god Moloch, or whatever his name is. However, the language used in Leviticus 23 says the act profanes my holy name. God doesn't just say, don't give them to him. He says doing that is a direct attack on God's own character. Another example, people get misconstrued. The test of Abraham and Isaac. People often point to the story of Abraham being told to sacrifice Isaac as an exception. However, truth seekers and scholars point out two key things about this story. The interruption. God stops the sacrifice. The truth revealed at the end of the story is God provides the ram. He replaces the human with an animal, effectively signaling the end of human sacrifice for his followers. The silent command. In the later prophetic books like Jeremiah 19 and 5, God says, regarding child sacrifice, I did not command it, nor did it enter my mind. This is often interpreted as God's final word on the matter. If any voice, pastor, claims God wants a child sacrifice, they are not speaking for God. So, God definitely would not send God's only son to be sacrificed for a world that needs to be stoned to death for coming up with the shit in the first place. That explains the meteors. I'm really just kidding on that part, but everything else, I fucking meant.